What do you get when you cross a Mercedes E-Class with a great white shark? Well, you get the CLS 450, and today I'm going to be bringing you a review of the BMW 5 Series competitor, or one of them, from Mercedes-Benz. I'm Aiden, and you're watching God Next. Now, I say the shark thing because of how the front end nose of this car is designed. As you can see with its coupe-like design, it kind of slopes down into this front area where it all cuts off up front. And I just genuinely think it looks like a shark. Up front, you have this AMG grille right here, because this does have the AMG package on it, with the different little triangle designs in it. LED headlights, some air pass-throughs down here for aerodynamic purposes and for additional cooling. And because it has the night package, you have this black piece in the bumper right here, and a small little lip spoiler up front. On the side here, you have these 20-inch AMG line wheels. This also has the night package. That's why you have these little black accents on these wheels and up front. Now, also because of the night package, you get the black mirror caps, and you also get the black trim around the windows, but you still get the chrome on the door handles, which I guess is nice, and they sound pretty good and heavy when you close them. Moving on to the back, still with that coupe-like design, you have LED headlights back here. And I would say the overall size of this vehicle is around the size of a 5 Series. What's weird is the EPA classifies this car as a compact. I don't know how a car the size of a BMW 5 Series in an E-Class is a compact car, but the EPA makes its own rules, I guess. Let's talk about the back of the car. LED headlights, and it's cool how you open the trunk here is you press this little Mercedes logo, and that's where your backup camera comes out of too. You have 11.9 cubic feet of cargo space in the back, and you do get an electronic closing tailgate as standard on this car. What's weird is back here you have this little bumper design where this kind of sits out like this. That's actually because of American safety regulations. In Europe, this would be more sunk in and normal looking, but in America, because of those safety regulations, if you've seen them on things like the Bugatti and stuff like that, they have to have this piece of the bumper stick out a little more. You also have these dual exhaust pipes down here that lead back to a 3-liter turbocharged inline 6 with an electric motor. And yeah, the overall design of the outside of the CLS 450 is pretty nice. I think Mercedes has done a really good job of making this coupe-style sedan look pretty good. Now, as for the engine on this car, it's pretty interesting. You have a turbocharged inline 6 mix, 362 horsepower, 369 pound-feet of torque, made into a 9-speed Mercedes automatic transmission. This is also paired with an electric motor, which increases acceleration off the line when you're in sport mode, and it improves gas mileage in any of the other modes. So this engine's pretty well thought out. You get good gas mileage, good power, and good acceleration, even in a big car like this. Let's talk about the interior of the CLS 450. Plenty of nice and soft touch materials. The steering wheel feels really good. This is actually Mercedes' newest steering wheel, where you have this cool little triangle design for the center spokes, and you have this circle little center cap for the steering wheel. Two 12.3-inch digital screens, customizable on both. This is Mercedes' new MBUX system versus their command system. I like it a lot better, and the gauge cluster is phenomenal with how much you can configure. You can even put the nav here. This does have a really cool option. It uses the augmented navigation system, so when you set a destination in the infotainment system through the Mercedes system, not Apple CarPlay, it will use augmented reality to project arrows whenever you have to go onto an on-ramp, a turn, or anything like that. And when you come to a stoplight or a stop sign, it'll actually pull a digital image of what's in front of you up in the infotainment system, just to make sure you don't run any red lights or hit any pedestrians unknowingly. And of course, that's important because all these Mercedes owners are important on their phones making money, so they're not always paying attention to driving. These seats are nice. You get these black leather seats with the white contrast stitching, a nice size center console with 2 USB Type-C ports, and a nice front storage area with a USB Type-C port, and this one is equipped with wireless charging and NFC support. Mercedes a while ago removed the little command wheel that you could use to get around the navigation system. Now it's kind of a swipe touch thing like the iPhones are, or this is a touchscreen system. As for the glove box, you do have a nice generous sized glove box, and you do have this beautiful gray wood trim that has this glossy finish on it. Metallic switches just about everywhere you're going to be touching. Mercedes wants to make sure you're not touching any plastic, and the ambient lighting on this interior is absolutely incredible. It goes from under the dash, in the doors, on the side of the center armrest, and you even get it in the air vents, and it has 64 different colors you can change it to. Now this one also has the premium package on it, which means you get the Burmester surround sound system, a sunroof right here, and some other little goodies in this interior. Let's move to the back to see how the passengers in the back are going to be feeling. In the back of the CLS 450, your passengers are going to have plenty of knee room, not too much headroom. If I sit all the way up, I'm going to bash my head into the ceiling like this. Plenty of back pocket space in the back of the front seats, and you do have 2 air vents back here. My problem is back here is that your front passengers will probably forget to change the climate control for the rear passengers, and the rear passengers will probably bake back here because these vents are not very big and there's no way to control the climate controls back here. That is something BMW definitely beats Mercedes on, is the fact that the rear passengers, I feel like, are more focused in BMW than they are in the Mercedes, unless you're driving something like an S-Class. Something to think about when you're buying one of these cars and you have family to haul around. You also have a good amount of cup holder space down here, 2 USB Type-C ports, more ambient lighting in the door, Burmester high-end surround sound system, little grill in the door as well. And that's about it. Other than the fact that there's no climate control back here and the headroom's pretty mediocre, the seats are nice and comfortable and the materials are nice. So I'd say I'd give this rear seat probably a 5 out of 10 compared to some other cars. That just isn't that impressive, but it's still pretty nice. All right, pulling onto an on-ramp, some acceleration. Yeah, it's pretty quick. 362 horsepower goes quite a long way in a car like this when you're not trying to be crazy sporty. I have the augmented navigation thing on right now, and it's pretty handy in some situations where you don't know where you're going to be getting off, especially when there's a lot of exits. It's pretty handy and it's pretty cool. I think it's a little cool party trick that Mercedes added in. Not that you're going to be using it very often, because you're most likely going to be using something like Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to do that, which Android Auto and Apple CarPlay still not wireless on these cars. Don't know why Mercedes, Audi, and BMW do it. Why can't you? It just baffles my mind, nor is it full screen like it was on Command. But anyways, the driving experience, the cabin is very subdued and it's very quiet at speed. We're doing 65 and I can't really hear the tires at all. Like, you're in a very enclosed environment, but you do not get adaptive suspension on this. At least this one doesn't have adaptive suspension. It's just standard multi-link suspension on the front and back, nothing adaptive. So bumps can be a little harsh still, but for the most part, it is a very soft ride and it's very quiet in here. And the driving position's nice. The driving experience overall is nice, especially with the technology. As standard, you get adaptive cruise control in this, which is nice. You don't have to get Distronic anymore to get that, but there is a Distronic upgrade you can get for self-steering and self-driving capabilities and self-parking capabilities. The seats are nice and comfortable. There's a good amount of bolstering, which is a little, I think, is a little too much for a luxury car like this. It's not track use, and the bolstering, I get the body roll mitigation, but it just feels like sometimes it's hugging me a little too tight, which can be quite annoying, especially when I'm trying to just relax, and I think bigger people will have some hard times fitting into these seats. Nothing against if you're big or anything like that, that's not what I mean. But the steering is nice and light, and like I said, it's just an overall great experience. The safety systems in the car are nice as well. 360-degree cameras, blind spot monitoring systems. Transmission takes a little long to kick down into the correct gear to cause some acceleration. We're in comfort mode, and that's probably why. But one thing I've noticed is some of the Mercedes transmissions are just not as snappy as something like the ZF 8-speed, which is used across the car industry by multiple different brands. I feel like the BMW 5 Series is just a lot more lighter on its feet than this car is. So, and I think a direct competitor for this car is something like the 540i with its inline 6 that does make more power than this does. And like I said, smoother transmission, and they're now updating that car. I think this just went through some sort of an update. You have the new steering wheel and everything like that. You do have MBUX. So I think I would personally take a 540i over one of these. I just feel like it's more put together, solidly built. Mercedes has handled their build quality issues pretty well. I don't really hear much more interior creaks or anything like that. Not that that was ever really an issue. I think it was just BMW fanboys kind of just finding a reason to complain. With the perfect amount of luxury for anyone looking to spend around $80,000, I think the CLS 450 nails it. You get Mercedes' newest technology and a good-looking car on the outside with a decently powered powertrain. So, if you guys like this video, make sure you hit that like button down below. If you want to see more from us, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.